All right, and we're here, the Soulful Cream podcast. I am Cream Diggler.
And I am Soulful Mexican.
All right, look at us. Me and you must never part. Da, 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 da,
Come on, come on, Steven Spielberg, pick this one up.
What have you been up to there, Soulful?
It's been a great week actually.
Oh,
I got back from my trip to Atlanta for the bestie's birthday, which that was also MLK weekend.
nice.
So a very festive weekend. Got back home from there. Basically hit the ground running because it was annual review time, which I had a phenomenal review.
Oh,
And
what kind of nice things did they say about you?
and it's funny. I thought about the earlier episode we had about imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
because when it comes to review time, and most companies do this, they'll let you do a self review first, and I
Yes.
guess you compare notes with what they came up with you, and I know how to write, and
Okay.
and I know how to sell. So when I'm writing my review, I'm selling the dream.
Yes,
But
yes.
the whole time I'm doing that, I'm thinking to myself, a part of me feels like a fraud, just because I feel like I don't work as hard as at this job as I used to in my last one. Not a
Mm.
bad thing, but I have to embrace that that's not a bad thing.
Right, yeah.
It's not a bad thing. So yeah, I sold the dream. They bought it, and yeah, I should see some very significant impacts to said paycheck come February.
Nice, nice. I too got a really good review this
Ah,
year, and it's been a drastic difference because I think from about 2017 to 2021, my boss was a total asshole
I
and
remember.
just miserable. And it's something. It's one of those things that I would have been happy if I would have quit during that time and probably moved on and found something better. But it's also nice that I didn't, and he ended up leaving and retiring, and things just got better automatically because of that. So I don't know what the message is there. Is it hold on? I mean, sometimes you should
You
hold
know,
on. I don't know.
that's a very difficult call because
Hmm.
speaking of my old job and how hard I used to work, I held on for a long time.
Mm.
And when I finally left, I really wish I would have left sooner. But I
Mm.
think you just got to feel it out, and
Right.
you got to
Right.
look at the bigger picture and see what the bigger picture has said for you. I wish it
Hmm.
was as simple as saying, hold on, it's going to get better versus, get the hell out of there now. You don't have to put up with that crap. I wish it was that easy,
Yeah.
but
Well, I had tried to leave a couple times. One time I actually got a job offer, but the money just wasn't good enough to
hmm
take it. I was like, nah, it ain't good enough. And I remember
agreed.
one time my mom, when I was thinking about leaving, she was like, well, don't, leave on your own account. Don't let nobody run you off. And so
hmm
that was another thing. I was like, because I thought about, well, I'm enjoying everything else about my job except for this one person. So if it probably would have been more other bad things going on besides him, I probably would have definitely like just took a lower paying job or something
Yeah.
just to get away from him.
Yeah. And it's
So,
unfortunate that a job will put you at that point where you feel like you have to take a lower paying job just to get away from them. But
yeah.
I think you hit on something very interesting because I think that's when I realized it was time for me to go. You
Hmm.
weighed the goods and the good and the bad, and what is it about it that makes you want to stay. And at the end, I realized that my favorite thing about my last job was the amount of PTO that I had with them. And it's like if
Mm,
I start with a new company, I'm not going to get that much PTO. I would
right.
get 5 weeks off because I was there so long, plus a week that would carry over. So I was looking at 6 weeks of PTO plus my holiday time for the federal holidays and such. But then I had to tell myself, is my favorite thing about my job the amount of time that I'm not there?
Mm.
So I was
Right.
like, yeah, it's time to go.
Time to go. And you have been happy ever since.
Oh, yes.
Amen. Amen. So, excuse me, I have a weird question. Do you
hmm
watch accidents like traffic accidents, car accidents, people sliding on ice, random things like that on the internet sometimes?
Sometimes yes, like if I get the TikTok video sent to me or certain forward. In fact, I was about an hour ago I was watching one where a car got struck by lightning
Oh wow.
as it was driving past the street, and everybody in the
Oh,
street just kind of came out to help them. Everybody was fine.
oh okay, okay.
But yeah, sometimes I watch them because they're funny. People, I'm sorry, but people slipping and falling, people leaning too hard on the rails on the way in their house and their door. We live in a wonderful time
I know these
where the Ring doorbells
the
catch it
ring
all. I'm
doorbell, yes.
sorry,
Exactly.
but
Uh,
but yeah, I'd have to say I do.
because I did fall into like this rabbit hole of watching these like different crash videos, like cars sliding on ice. It's just amazing how many people drive way too fast in inclement weather, whether it's raining or especially black ice and snow. When I see snow on the ground on the side of the road, I am slowing down. And so it's interesting to watch how people just have these crazy accidents. I mean, I hope that people aren't hurt, but it's definitely fascinating to see just how quickly, you know, tragedy strikes. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just, it's just it's a weird thing. But if you look YouTube it, there's so many people with there's ton of views on there, like tons of views. I think those are popular
yeah. Especially
videos.
with dash cams being so popular now,
Oh yeah.
we get to capture so many of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been down that rabbit hole a few times too. It's when I first started driving, my biggest fear was driving in the rain because I was still learning to get the feel of a vehicle and I would hydroplane so easily. Now, all these years later, I still don't care for driving in the rain. And it's not because of me, it's because of everybody else.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I
I'll be
mean, yeah.
driving doing 50 and somebody's flying past me doing 90 on a wet highway. And I'm just like, the fuck? And then 10 miles later, I see where they've gone off the road and they're
Right.
stuck in a ravine. And
And you're just chucking along.
yeah, there was one video, speaking of that, it was a dash cam. You could see the front of the car filming and the driver. And the
Mm,
driver's just kind of there, one hand on the wheel, one hand eating chips, just really relaxed. And you could see this pickup truck flying past him.
mhm,
And the pickup truck was kind of just, and he was just going at a steady pace with the car right behind him, with the car that was right in front of him. And I guess the pickup truck was trying to pass all of them, but it got to a point where he kind of just got boxed in and couldn't. So the pickup truck tried to force himself in front of his car and the car in front of him.
ooh,
He didn't slow down, so he
ooh.
stayed there, and the pickup truck kept going, thinking I guess he was going to move. He didn't move. The pickup truck clipped the front of his car, rotated. He just kind of moved around him and kept going and left the pickup truck. It was like a two-lane causeway, so I know it had to have caused some serious traffic,
Yeah.
but he just kept going, eating his chips. And of course, that started like the onslaught of comments. People are like, that some people were like, he got what he deserved. He was being an asshole. The other one was like, you could have really killed that man, this and that. And I'm just
And it's
I
like,
I got tired of driving past those kinds of people. That's why I moved out of the big city.
right. But living in a small town, I can tell when somebody is either very young driving, or maybe they're from a city driver in the small town,
Hmm.
because those are usually the most reckless drivers around here, usually. But speaking of recklessness, we're going to spend just a little time on this because I think we just have to mention it and acknowledge the Tyree Nichols murder that happened with was it about 5 police
Yeah,
officers?
and you said the right thing. It was definitely a murder.
You know, I know I did watch the video. Of course, there's been a whole lot of discussions on people about why they don't want to watch it, didn't watch it, and I say to each his own. Don't watch it. You know your level of um,
Tolerance.
tolerance and what you can handle right now. Did you
Yeah,
watch it, Soulful?
I did. But, I had heard about it before the video was released because I have a lot of friends in Memphis, and a lot of
Hmm.
them were bracing for the worst
Yeah.
in anticipation of that video being released. But yeah, five officers who are black. beat and killed a young man.
Yeah, and it was like a gang attack. The way they
Yeah,
it
they
was
said it was worse than the Rodney King
it
incident.
it really was. I mean, it felt
Had to be because Rodney King survived
because
his.
he survived, right? And it looked so personal to me. It
Hmm.
looked like this man had maybe raped one of their sisters or something. I mean, that's not what happened, but
Hmm.
that's how personal it felt to me.
Hmm.
And what are your friends in Memphis saying? What is the
So it's
energy
funny you
there?
say that it's personal
Uh huh.
because I first of all, prayers for other people in Memphis because I know it is a uh very strange time there. My friend that told me about it has been trying to avoid going outside. And the one day he did go outside on Saturday, he said somebody pushed a shopping cart in the middle of the street and hit his car in an attempt to try to get him to stop so they could carjack him.
Mm,
But he just drove through the shopping cart anyway, took the damage to the front end, and went home.
mm,
But when it was revealed to me that this was getting released, the terminology that was used is that that young man was targeted by the five police officers. So it seems like there was some personal vendetta involved. But what makes it even more complex is that the two EMTs that were there uh, allegedly did not supply the proper life-saving procedures that they were supposed to do. So it seems like it's, you know, from the way it was described to me, like they were involved too. It wasn't just
hmm.
the police. So definitely seems like, if that being accurate, it is undoubtedly a premeditated situation, not just
Yeah,
something that went wrong and escalated, especially for a traffic violation.
yeah. So I just want to say, I know a lot of people are already talking about this, so I don't want to belabor it. So I'll just say, like you said, wishing the family well, um,
The residents of
the
Memphis
the
as
residents
well.
of Memphis, and I think that hear that he had a child. That Tyree had a child. Did you hear that?
Yes, yeah, they've been sharing the pictures of him and the child.
So praying for his child. Of course, so tired of being in these situations and having to say thoughts and prayers to people. But I mean, that's all we really got besides you know reform, and I don't want to get into all that. But
Well, I think, the one thing that's really, really bothering people, and we won't go into it too long. It's not, we've been hearing about these injustice beatings happening, but I think what's made this one so complex is that all the officers were black and they
hmm
were all tried and convicted and, released from their jobs that quickly.
right,
And, on a national scale, every time that's happened to a black civilian by a white cop, it's not the
exactly,
case. It's
is not the
administrative
case.
leave. That in itself is very complex.
Yeah,
Memphis itself is a largely African American city, a huge African American population, so it's not uncommon to have uh, people like people in those positions from the police department, police chief and all of that. But and I think you have to treat it as two different topics. One is the injustice of the police against the civilian, but also you know you have to look at the fact that it happened with white cops and with black cops separately.
and my thought is how long ago did this happen? Because I didn't look it up. But did it happen before the midterm elections? Like, why did they? How long have they been sitting on this? Uh, this video is what I'd be curious to know, because depending on how long they've been sitting on it, tells says a lot, right? Uh, about what's going on in terms of, I guess, the level of, like, oh wow, you guys are really trying to do the right thing, or was it you guys had to release it because it was public information, but you waited as long as you could to make sure that somebody got elected who you wanted to get elected.
Hmm. That is a good question.
That's what I'm thinking. So, but maybe we can figure that out before the episode is over today. So the next question I want to ask, a topic I want to get to, is man periods. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he was like, "Oh, I'm on my man period today," and I had heard about this before, and I thought, and I'm sure that women would be very probably offended by this. But have you ever heard the term "man period" before, or being on, or not menopause? Because menopause is when you're losing. What's the menstruation?
Menstruation.
Menstruation, yeah, menstruation.
Menstruation.
Yeah. Have you ever heard that term? Any of those terms, or
I have not heard those terms. I may have used, a similar occurrence in myself back in my 20s. I just called it a chemical imbalance.
right? Okay.
Not pH balance, the chemical
The
imbalance.
chemical in that. Okay, all right, all right. I see it. I mean, the thing about it is, I used to, think it made sense. So I did a little research on it, and there is something that's called like a man period that they said it's irritable male syndrome. Jed Diamond coined this term,
Irritable
and
male syndrome.
the irritable male syndrome. Yes, IMS, IMS. Yeah.
I don't It's just like, I don't know if that's something one could personally have or something somebody could be going through if they have an irritable male in their vicinity.
I'm suffering from irritable male syndrome because of you. Yeah, because I said, some of what were some of the side effects here that they were saying, or the symptoms of it? Stress, or these are things that can influence it: stress, changes in diet or weight, illness, lack of sleep, eating disorders, and of course age. Some of the symptoms of it include fatigue and depression, low self esteem, low libido, anxiety, hypersensitivity. So, you know, I think we all males maybe have suffered from a little IMS at some point
Well,
every now and then.
apparently the result is following the withdrawal of testosterone.
Mm.
So, uh, cisgender males produce testosterone naturally, providing that they have their testicles.
Oh,
but
okay.
but yeah, they would supposed to be able to produce their own testosterone naturally. Obviously we have steroids out there, which is one
Mhm.
form, but we also have a lot of testosterone clinics out there. Have you ever been to one?
No, I talked to my doctor one time because I was watching those different videos on Instagram and TikTok about the guys who take the human growth hormones, but some people take testosterone so they can
Hmm.
work out more. And I was talking to my doctor about it, and she was just had nothing positive to say about it. She was like,
No.
"You don't need that." Blah blah blah. Do you want this to happen? I forgot all the weird symptoms she was saying that could happen,
Yeah.
to me if I took it. And I was like, oh, "Okay, I'll get some all right."
One of my relatives used to pitch it to me as just as a possible, just something look into for weight loss and metabolic improvement and such like that. And I was like, I didn't even know these clinics existed. And if you have a flex spending account and need to use your money on it, apparently you can use it in those clinics.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, obviously you're having some type of synthetic testosterone administered to your body, so I could see where the withdrawal might cause some problems. I
but
mean, we hear about people on steroids having all kinds of reactions, and
yeah.
that's an
Mm.
extreme amount of testosterone.
But I wonder now that we have IMS. I mean, I don't know how widely known it is. People can start blaming you may say, "Oh, my man is moody." He's like, "No, I'm not moody. I'm suffering from IMS." And so just like you, I get to have some time to process it and it work through my body, and when it does, I'll be back to myself.
Why do
Maybe
I have a
that's
feeling we're going to see one of those? With you pitching it, I have a feeling they're probably going to want to try to push one of their commercials through our podcast in the near future.
I would love to. We wholly support that. IMS drugs.
Whoever's doing the drugs for IMS,
Hit us up.
Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson,
We're probably the perfect
Moderna,
age. We're the perfect age to be in the
Gilead.
commercials, so we could give you a 2-for-1 deal. A ad on here, and we could be in the ad. Hey,
Oh goodness.
yeah. All right, so all you men out there suffering from IMS, we see you. We hear you. Okay, we see
They're
you.
Don't tell me you're waiting for to be able to file disability for it.
Okay, how
Let me
okay.
find out I could get a check.
Don't let me find out I get a check. That's the all those scammers out there. The Joanne the scammers are like, what? I didn't know about this one. Let me get on this one now. Now the Oscars are out. The Oscar nominations are out.
Mm.
Anything that surprised you? Anything that you're happy about with the Oscars?
Let's see, what do we have for Best Picture? Oh, we have a lot of nominees for Best Picture. Of course, Elvis is on there. Avatar: Way of the Water. You know what? They need all the nominations they can get since they spent $2 billion in
Okay.
making that film. Top Gun: Maverick. You know what? I have got to give it for Tom Cruise to still be making movies after all these years. I
Yes.
mean, he goes back to 80s, maybe even the 70s. When did he do Legend?
Oh my God! Don't give me the line. I don't know. I do not know her discography like that. This Tom Cruise. Uh,
1985. Okay. So yeah, but Tom Cruise still making movies after all these years, and to be able to bring Top Gun back like that. But yeah,
ah,
Everything Everywhere All at Once. I could see. Okay, Best Picture. That was, that was that was literally a lot going on with that movie.
it was a lot. It was a lot. Did you like that movie?
I have to watch it a few more times because I feel like I missed some things. I enjoyed it.
Uh
I
huh.
enjoyed it. It was, obviously a lot of action, a lot of great acting, but it's just so much.
Mm,
A lot of quirky stuff that happened. Of course,
yeah.
Elvis was going to be in for the running.
Hmm.
Uh,
Like
let-
I was really disappointed not to see Viola Davis on there for the Woman King. I was disappointed not to
yeah,
see Kiki Palmer for Nope. I thought she um should have been a contender on there for Best Supporting Actress. I thought. Um, I mean, but then you look at the list and go, okay, well, who should have been kicked off? I don't know who should have been kicked off. I didn't think the daughter and everything all at once was that hot. I really didn't.
hmm
I mean, she was fine, but I didn't think she was that. She was fine. She was fine. She did a good job. I guess she did do it. She did. She did play multiple characters. I guess she did do a good job.
Well, I
Um,
will say it is exciting to see that Brian Tyree Henry is on the list.
that is very 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 nice
Best
to
for
see
best
him on there.
supporting actor.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny. Just a few years ago, I was watching him on Atlanta playing the rapper Paperboy, and he's gotten all just your typical typecast role to get your foot in the door. And
right.
since then, he's just really exploded into the acting scene. In the Eternals, and then
Yeah.
Bullet
Hmm.
Train, and he's really had an opportunity to show his versatility as an actor.
I have not seen Causeway before. I'm trying to see what is it. What is that? What is that about? Who's in that? I'm doing a little quick little. Oh, that's that Jennifer Lawrence movie. That did she get a nomination for that one? In that for
She
the.
did not.
Oh, okay. Well, kudos to him. For getting that. I mean, listen. Can we talk about the historic nomination of Angela Bassett? Uh, being the first and only Marvel character actor to get
A
an
nomination.
Oscar nomination. I
She
mean,
deserves it. She
she
played that.
she does deserve it.
She brought so much more to that role than was required of her, and just made it timeless.
She did. I mean, only a skilled actress can take the material she had to work with. Not saying the material wasn't good. I'm just saying the material just was what it was, but she elevated it even more
Yeah.
so. She
The
really did.
material was great. It just she wasn't the star of the movie, but she made
Exactly.
sure she made sure you remember her. It's like doing a photo shoot with a bunch of other models, and you're trying to highlight the other models, but you just happen to do something from that back shot that just really makes you stand out. And
Yeah,
that's what she did. I mean, she stood out beyond Black Panther, beyond every Marvel movie that's ever made.
she
So
did.
yes, huge congratulations. It couldn't have happened to a better person. Another one that's on the list is Michelle Yao,
Hmm.
for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Another great nomination.
Yeah, she'll probably get it, and I hope she does because she'll be the first Asian uh, actress to win that award.
Hmm.
I think she'll be the first Asian ever to win an Oscar. I think if she wins it, to
Just
win an
breaking
acting
glass ceilings
Oscar.
everywhere.
So that would be good to see her win that. But I was talking to someone else about. I was on another podcast. I was a guest this week on another podcast, and they were mentioning Jamie Lee Curtis, her nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and he was saying how he thought she should probably get it for and I was like, oh hell no.
Halloween.
Uh, no, her rolling everywhere, and I'm like,
That'd be
nah, I
kind
don't
of
think
a
so.
slap in the face.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, she tried her best, and she did a good job, but
She
she was
tried so
not
hard. You say that like she tried so hard.
she was not better than my girl. She just didn't meet the she
You
didn't
know,
meet it. Mm-mm.
one last thing I want to add about Angela Bassett and her role. I mean, obviously, she represented heavily when she was in the United Nations. She represented heavily when she had to release Okoye from her position.
Hmm.
Oh God, I mean, that's the one scene that everybody was like,
Yeah,
but you know, and I hate that it went this way, but I got to give it to her. Even her drowning with that
yeah,
with that gown in the water like that. I mean,
yeah.
that's how
Eleganza.
I want to go.
Well, I don't want to go drowning, but if I go, I want to go elegantly.
Yes,
Yes.
whatever way I go, make sure it's avant-garde.
Yeah. There has been a little bit of controversy around this Oscar nominations. Of course, you have hashtag Oscar so male, which I do have a little bit of problem with that because it's a ripoff of Oscar so white, hashtag Oscar so white. And I'm like, okay, here we go again with white people appropriating, black stuff. It's like, girl, come up with your own hashtag, okay? But anyway, so Oscar so male because they're saying because there are no female directors nominated this year. And when we had a lot of good movies by female directors, so there was some to choose from,
Hmm.
like the Woman King for Till and the Woman King to name a couple, right at the top of my head. Um, I and also let me just say the actress who played Emmett Till's mother, she was brilliant in that movie, and it's a little bit disappointing not to see her get a nomination. But once again, who do you name? But the controversy I want to talk about is for the actress. Uh, what's her name here? Andrea Riseborough. She was in this little independent film. Uh, by the time I think the film it's called To Leslie's name of the film. It had only taken in $27,000 at the box office when the star's name appeared on the short list for Best Actress. So that means a lot of people hadn't seen it. So how did she get on the short list so quickly? Well, uh, people said that the nod came after an intense last minute social media campaign mounted on her behalf by celebrity friends Edward Norton, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Sarah Paulson. Now, so there have been multiple calls to the Academy about in the wake of her nomination, ranging from debate from moviegoers and movie makers on whether the rules have been broken in terms of campaigning to get this woman on the list. I don't know the rules to get on the list and all that stuff. Don't care necessarily about them, but what I do feel like you can't necessarily fault this chick for having connections because um or these people maybe these people are producers on the movie. Maybe these people are whatever their relationship to the movie or to the actress. I don't know if it really makes a difference unless they are somehow on the committee or something and they're not supposed to do it and there's some kind of policy against it. But if there's no policy against it, I'm not sure what the problem is because it's all a big uh what do they call it? You campaign, right? All of it is you going from party to party, campaigning and trying to sell people to vote for you for your
Yeah.
performance in the thing. So I'm not sure why everyone is up in arms about it. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's I'm with you. I really don't understand the process a lot. I'm kind of with you. I hate that they're turning, that they're kind of driving, going from going from focusing on the fact that we never have black nominees to trying to dilute that with other marginalized groups.
Yeah. So here we go. Thank you, Oscars. Very interesting. I don't think I'll be watching the Oscars when they come on. I'll just probably be waiting for the little news ticker posts because that's the great thing now. You'll every time a winner will win, something will
A little push
populate.
notification.
Yeah, you get a push notification exactly.
Yeah.
So
No,
you
I
might
get
watch
it.
it.
I totally get it. It's like, it's over the last few years, the Oscars have just been riddled with controversy.
Hmm.
Last year was the Will Smith, Chris Rock altercation. Every time before that, they can't seem to find somebody to host the Oscars because they said something bad in Twitter 7 years ago, or, that they're, just not the right demographic that people think they should be, or they're just not a favorite, or when they find somebody that can meet all those criteria and pass everybody's purity test, they're just boring.
Right. Anybody who passed the purity test is boring. Yeah, that's true. All right. So our main topic for this evening is is art at risk due to artificial intelligence? There was a whole phenomenon recently with people posting on Facebook, particularly, or in Instagram, these AI photos of themselves. You could go to this app, put a couple of pictures of yourself in it, and it would create all like hundreds, or at least 100 or more pictures of you
For a
in,
small fee,
for a very small
a
fee,
nominal fee.
a nominal fee.
I believe it was
And
the Lensa app.
yeah, there was the Lensa app in all different kinds of scenarios. I mean, I think I was a astronaut. I was, topless. I was big belly, no belly, six pack. I was cross-eyed on several of them. So some of them I was not, but some of them were really cute pictures. Um, and I do recall a friend of mine on Facebook going, "This is the beginning of the end. You watch and see. This is the beginning of the end." What do you think? I mean, did you try the app at all?
I did not.
Oh, good for you,
I did
resisting.
not. I did not for a lot of reasons. We've had apps released in the previous years that used AI to make you look older or such like that.
Hmm.
And some of those apps originated in Russia.
Mm.
So, this was at the time under the Trump administration where, there was a lot of suspicious activity amongst between his administration and Russia. And, with so many questionable practices of infiltrating the American voting system and such, and, all kinds of campaigning and propaganda coming from them. So it was just kind of like, let me try to do my part in not putting my metrics out there for them. I mean, it might be redundant because I've used other apps that do that. Snapchat,
Mm.
Snapchat will take your face and put a filter on it real quick. I use the Reface apps, which
Oh yeah,
put you on a whole commercial in the face of a body.
that's true. That's true. It's like,
So
yeah.
yeah. But so I have to admit, some of I don't I didn't see the process. Like, I didn't realize they would spit out 100 pictures, and out of those, maybe 8 or 9 of them were really cute. But I
Hmm.
saw some amazing ones. A
Yeah.
lot of people went out there, and I was just like, wow, these look great. Had a friend of mine in DC who posted one. He's naturally bald, but it gave him a full head of hair, slimmed him down, and gave this 3/4 profile. I was like, I died. One of my friends says, "Why do you look like one of the producers for LaFace Records?"
I'm telling you, it's like that movie Player One, I think it is, or maybe it's another movie where people go into video game worlds, but they're not themselves. They they all have avatars, right? They all have these different
Hmm.
avatars. I was like, we're just getting more and more step to like people like existing in these like worlds where you can just wear an avatar, you can do your shopping, you never have to leave home. We're definitely getting more and more in that. But getting back to the idea about arts, so I did a little research on it, and apparently there's some couple of really big apps who are into this, and there are artists who are worried about it. And so what they've done is let some artists kind of go into the app, and they can see if their style of work is being, I guess, used in the app, and they can opt out, like take that out. Like for example, there's this artist Matthew Dryhurst, and they said that he went in and trying to make sure I'm saying the right person here. Is it him? Uh, let's see. Uh, 1,800 artists have signed up to use the tool already. This tool that you can check to see if you're being copyrighted. Uh, uh, for example, so Samantha Dryhurst isn't the author. But anyway, this artist, he went in to check to see, and he wasn't there. And someone said, likened it to, do you want to, it's like someone said, like, do you want to opt out of me robbing you? Like, we already have your stuff, so would you like to opt out? Shall we return your TV to you, sir? Uh, but I don't know. It's it is there's an issue of copycatting. There's an issue of stock images. There's a business of stock images, and people are saying, well, is this going to mess with that? But then someone also I read was talking about how when we used to just do painting for pictures, right? And then there came a time when the camera came into being, and people thought, oh my God, this is the end of painting. No one will paint anymore. Well, painting has not gone away, right?
It has not,
But of
in
course,
more ways than one.
but of course, um, it's not banking the way it used to bank. People are not selling as much paintings they used to sell because people have more options. The medium has changed, just like the photography medium has changed from doing those little things over your head. Mediums change, and um, I don't know if I'm not an artist in terms of painting and drawing, so I can definitely understand the hesitancy. But I have a feeling that the industry will be okay, at least for the next 100 years, at least. I don't know.
I think you touched on it. I think it's interesting that AI is getting to a point it's able to produce artwork, not just visual artwork, but also like sounds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love this show called American Gods,
Mm.
and in one of the starting episodes, uh, this young man whose father was just a passionate classical musician. I guess he was hoping his son would have picked up the same passion for music too, but his son got into computers instead. He still played the violin, or I forgot what instrument, the piano, a bit, but computers was what he liked, and he ended up writing a computer program that compose music.
Mm.
So one day his father walked in on him while he's playing this beautiful piano piece out, and the father's just kind of just listening, taking it in. And he was like, "You wrote that?" He's like, "No, the computer did. I'm just playing it."
Yeah.
It's like, and he was so excited, like, "I created all these algorithms, this and that," and his dad just looked so like irritated, like, "I wanted you to create it, not a machine." I think there's plenty of room for creativity out there. The competition. If you find out that you didn't get the top 10 Billboard or the Billboard top 10 this week because you lost out to a computer program, that's might be the reality that we're going. But
I think it is. I think it is. One of the artists said they're going to come for music next, and they will. It only makes sense. I mean, like you said, I think it's not a far. You have AI that can play chess, and and is unbeatable because they adapt to the humans that they're playing against.
mhm.
Um, we now have something called Chat B GBT or something like that. That in colleges and high schools, students are using it to write their papers now. You can say in chat GBT or QBT, whatever it is, uh, write me a paper about Kanye West, and it'll just start writing a paper. And the more you use it, the more it recognizes your voice in terms of not how you sound, but just how you talk and how you would write a paper, right? Because I've had uh, professor friends talk to me and say, I know the student didn't write this paper. It's not coming up in any of the plagiarism apps that we use to see if someone wrote this before, but
Hmm.
I can tell that it's not their voice, and that's when we all begin to learn about Chat GBT, and a lot of students were using that um, to write their papers. So the question is like more like, well, it's not going to go away. What are we going to do to adjust to it? How can you use the app?
You
And maybe
know,
that's the question for artists.
some of my listeners might hate me, the fact that I put this out there, but I had one professor that would make us write the paper in class.
Yes, exactly. I can totally see. I can see it going there. Today is write the class and paper day, and I give you maybe we're away from write me 10-page papers that requires so much more time, but it might be more so start the paper in class, save it, come back, start the paper. Like it may be some shit like that.
You know, I totally get that, and a part of me is like, whatever happened to the pride and the work that you put into it, the research and all that, just so that But at the same time, anybody that's worked in corporate America realizes that just because you're phenomenal at what you do doesn't mean that you're going to get what you're worth.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
so many people in corporate America that are, just groundbreaking in the jobs that they have, may or may not have gotten a degree, but have this experience, have done all these amazing things in the company, and they never get noticed for it, never get paid for it. So, you know,
yeah.
so what if I need to use this computer program to help me get this little bump so I could get this piece of paper and this degree so that I can get paid like the same idiot off the street that you brought in that doesn't know what the hell they're doing just
Right.
because they had it.
Mm.
So yeah, I see both sides of it. I definitely take pride in the work that I do whenever I've done research papers and stuff. I love to write when I do. I'm not saying I'm a writer or an author, but when it comes to writing something to describe about it, you know, I I I love playing with the words and coming up with something for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we seem to require and more and more and more of our students, making the deadlines tighter, making the assignments tougher and more competitive. So, it's only natural that they're going to look for all
Mm.
the assistance possible, including
Yeah.
AI.
Well, I know a professor who lets students use Google on tests because he's like, that's what they're going to do in real life. In real life, if you get to a place and you're stuck and you don't know the answer to something, you're going to just go Google it, right? You're not going to just guess and be wrong, So
And
he,
that's not a bad idea
hmm
because I'm not necessarily interested in the students that use Google to help get ahead. I'm more interested in being disturbed by the students that use Google and still failed.
exactly.
It's like people that fail an open book test.
Mm, mm-mm.
It's like, you know what? Those are the ones that I really need to watch out for.
Yes,
If
for
you
real.
have the mental capacity to use your resources, which is what we would do in corporate America, use your resources.
Right.
If you have the mental capacity and the proper decision making process to be able to use your resources to get through whatever challenge you get through, you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be all right. Lord knows I do it all the time. I use YouTube for everything. I use YouTube to figure out how to change a spark plug in my car, how to repair the flapper on a toilet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
could pay somebody $500, or I could watch this little YouTube
Yeah.
video to figure out how to change a fuse. Oh,
I
that was
once
easy.
changed out a whole dishwasher thanks to a YouTube video. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I am
So,
not Mr. Fix It.
so who's to say that someone's gonna come back and say that we're frauds because we use YouTube to figure out instead of going to some expensive
Right.
electrical trade school?
Yeah.
So I get I get it. I get it. We're losing. we're losing the integrity and the pride that one would take in creating that for themselves, not to mention the experience of learning through the process. But we've done it to ourselves.
Yeah.
we
But there are some nuances that AI has yet to be able to do and complete, and so I don't think it's going to totally take away from artists, but it's going to make artists be more creative. It's going to make artists be a little bit more competitive. It's going to make um, I think it's just going to make everybody raise their game up a little bit more. I think
Agreed.
in the end, I don't think it's going to put the kibosh on it, but there is going to definitely be a time of transition where everyone has to learn how to adapt. I think for now, I think I'd say like live stuff is safe, right? Like I don't think we're going to see anytime soon in our lifetime AI people hosting a podcast, right? Like, and by that point, them motherfuckers is really running the world. Okay, at that point, like if they doing that,
The machines are starting to become self-aware.
they are running the world.
Skynet.
We're not going to see computers doing live theater, like walking on the stage and doing August Wilson. Like I don't
Unless we
see
have
that.
androids by then. And
Right.
even then,
And even then it's going to be something different. But if they get to the Westworld level, then I'm just hanging it up and I'm staying home. Like because I can't trust nothing I see at that point. I'm just doing drive-throughs and just going home because androids ain't nothing to play with. You know they get a little mad at you,
no.
and next thing you know, your brains are all over the ceiling. I'm like, no.
It's another form of automation. We've had a big political battle over this for decades, and often we blame immigrants for taking jobs, but it's really jobs being lost to automation. And this is
Mhm.
just another deeper level of it. But automation doesn't mean that it eliminates the need for a human altogether, because somewhere along the way, there's going to have to be a human changing a sprocket or fixing the program. And we're just gonna, like you said, we're just gonna have to evolve with it.
Yeah,
I don't
totally
really
agree.
see a machine replacing a human entirely as far as composing music. And even if it did, there's always going to be that human that's going to jump on the reins of that machine and say, you know what, it's cute what that machine did, but I'm going to take it a step further and do this.
Right,
When you
right.
when you find a machine that could play the B3 Hammond organ for a black church and be able to follow a pastor and some tone deaf soloists who swears they have perfect pitch, if you can find a machine that can do what that organist can do, then we've definitely lost the battle.
Okay, that's so true. Knows when to come in when the pastor for the dun 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 dun
R2D2, I'm gonna be an A flat.
dun. Uh, all right, so our top three. This episode we're doing our top three favorite country artists. Have you had a chance to mull this over in your mind, there, Soulful? Do you have
Oh
your
yeah,
top
yeah,
three in your mind?
I do.
Who's your in no particular order?
hmm
Who's one of your top three?
I do like Leanne Rhymes.
Yes, I love Leanne.
I like
Yes.
Leanne Rhymes. Started off as a 15-year-old. Beautiful, powerful voice. Did some amazing covers. Went on, did some movies. I love her.
What's your favorite Leanne Rhymes song?
I like her cover of "How Do I Live."
Yes, that is a good song.
I like,
That is.
yeah.
I
Don't get me
remember the
wrong,
video.
Trisha Yearwood did a good job, but
She did.
I
She
mean, she did
did.
an amazing job. But Leanne Rhymes was just around the time when I was listening heavily to country pop, and she just did it for me.
It was a real glossy video, wasn't it? It was real glossy
Real
and
glossy, like a
uh,
stage, an empty
yeah,
stage, dark background with a lot of glossy figures.
spotlight, something happening. I think I
hmm
remember that video. Yeah, yeah. When I think of Leanne Rhymes, the song comes to my mind is maybe this is the I probably didn't eat this way. I probably should have hurt so bad. You remember? It's so fat. Okay. Uh, I can't remember. But anyway, if y'all know what I'm talking about, if you a Leanne Rhymes fan, hit us up in the comments and let us know what song that is. My one of my favorite country artists is Shania Twain. Like I love beats with Shania Twain. The girl got the harmonies. She got the lyrics. She got the tongue in cheek. She got the seriousness. She got the ballads.
The
She got the
sass.
she got the sad. She got the up tempos. Like she gives me all the moods. Her music doesn't all sound the same. Like she gives me Janet Jackson teas in the sense that her music is different from you know song to song, right? Like it's I really love that about her. I think my favorite song from her it alternates but probably my favorite song is Man I Feel Like a Woman, but I feel like that's cliche to say.
It's funny. My best friend in the Bronx, Calixto, God rest his soul. When he was living, I was visiting him in one time in the Bronx, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard the new Shania Twain song? It's something. It's very, very like big band and this and that. I can't remember what it's called." Oh no, it's like I didn't know. So we were walking around the store a few hours later, and he just, "Man, I feel like a woman." And I just paused, and I gave him this wide-eyed look, like, and he looked at me like, "What?" If you need somebody to talk to, I won't judge. He's like, no, that's the song, Shania Twain. I was like, I will never forget because the look I gave him. He said he would never forget that look. Do you remember when Shania Twain did the halftime show in 2003 in that black leather cape?
Oh, I do remember Shania Twain doing the halftime show. I
Mm.
do. Uh, yeah, entertainer, an entertainer. You know,
Yeah,
she
I was
went
very
through.
happy to see her in the Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah, she
live
did Mrs.
adaptation.
Potts.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was only then that I realized, oh, she's like a contra alto. Like I didn't
Mm.
realize how low her range was. She's like in lower Anita Baker, Tony Braxton, Mary Carpenter range.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It's interesting because her and Leanne Rhymes both went through some really rough breakups in their lives, right? If Leanne went through a rough breakup, uh, Shania went through a rough breakup, with her husband leaving her for her best friend. I mean, honey, the telenovela of it all. I mean, it was really sad, and she even quit singing for a while because she spent so much of her career writing with Mutt Lange. That's her ex husband who left her, and they had some great hits together, some great harmonies together. So I'm sure a part of her, she was thinking, I don't know if I'll ever be able to keep this up without Mutt being in my life. But she
Mm,
but she did. She did it.
she made it work.
What's your next one?
Faith Hill.
Oh yes.
I love Faith
When the
Hill.
lights go down.
I can feel you breathe. It's
Yeah.
watching over me. Yeah. Yes. This kiss, this
This
kiss.
kiss. Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
So
she has a lot of
what
great
why do you like Faith?
And it's funny, she had some controversy a couple of years ago. She said she was playing, but it was somebody else got the award, and right before they cut, you see,
Oh, I remember that.
she said she was just being silly, but apparently wasn't received well. But I like her. She's sassy. She's beautiful. She's talented. She um has a great sense of humor, whether it works in her favor or not. Sometimes she was also in Stepford Wives. She was one
Hmm.
of the Barbie wives that had been taken over, and she just looks stunning in there. She's the one that kind of went crazy in the I don't in the square dance scene. Don't see don't
Hmm.
don't see don't see don't.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do like her stuff for a while. My next artist is Tim McGraw, actually, who is the husband of Faith
The husband
Hill.
of Faith Hill. Funny how that worked out.
Yeah,
He's
my
great too.
favorite song from him is "Don't Take the Girl."
Mm,
That's such a cute. It was like, when did that song come out? I mean, because I felt like I was a kid when it came out, 1994. I felt like I was a lot younger than that when it came out, but
hmm
Mama, Daddy, taking the fishing. He will make it home. It's just a very touching story about a little, girl who marries a boy, and she's about to. Well, there's different stages where the boy's like, "Don't take the girl from me," whatever. But anyway, it's really. I love Tim McGraw. He's sexy. I remember when him and Faith Hill was on tour one time. Some woman tried to grab his crotch, and pretty much stopped the concert
Yes,
and
I
blessed
remember that.
her
You
out.
do not do that.
She was like, honey, don't touch my man. Don't touch my man. It's interesting that how she kind of gave. I don't know if the right word is gave up her career, but she really moved back in her career, and I think he moved back a little bit so that they could just stay home and raise their kids. And I think that's great that they had the money and the willingness to do that. That's really really cool. Who is your last country artist?
I love Reba McEntire.
Oh yes. What's your favorite Reba song?
Till You Love Me. I remember sitting in class in one of my math classes, one of the math teachers loved country music, so he'd play the radio, and every time I'd hear that song, Till You Love Me, I was like, who is this? It's just
Oh
such a
wow.
beautiful song. But I love her music. I love her as a person. She's just
Mm.
of such a vibrant, sassy person. That red hair, those piercing blue, or I think they're green, bluish green eyes. And, she's made a career out of being a celebrity, not just in music, doing those makeup commercials with that, because her upper lip is very thin, almost non existent, but she's made it work. She had her TV show. I mean,
I loved her TV show Reba.
she's just a firecracker. But the other
Yeah.
thing that amazes me, she has a cover of Beyonce's "If I Were a Boy."
Does she?
Amazing. Now, I got a little worried when I heard, because the last time we had somebody try to do a cover of a song, it was Taylor Swift covering Earth, Wind and Fire's "September," and that was so
Do you
trash.
remember? She Taylor
No,
Swift tried to do that,
oh God, it was, yeah. No, she didn't try. She did it, and
and it didn't work.
it was very got me a Cadillac.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah, she
gotcha. It
she
was
sucked
very bad.
all the soul out of it. But Reba did a cover "If I Were a Boy," and she killed it. She is just
Wow.
amazing. So if you get a chance, check it out. I think you'll
I
enjoy
will. I will do. We will play that for y'all, but we don't want to get flagged for copyright infringement.
it. Beyonce, I do not own the rights.
Right? I do not. I'm like, how does that stop anybody from doing anything? My next favorite artist is probably Dolly Parton.
I'm glad.
Um,
I'm glad you got her, because it was a tough call.
yes, it's Dolly Parton.
Another firecracker.
For all the reasons, we all Dolly Parton is she's the goat. She's the writer, the songstress. She's the maverick. She was the trailblazer for any of the women and men to be different in country music. I mean, just to look like her alone with them big tits and them big ass wigs and stuff, that is that is calling for the spotlight, and to be seen, and to be seen oftentimes mean you're gonna get some darts thrown at you, and she takes it with great aplomb. I wish I was as witty as her, because she comes up with the best one liners in interviews, ever, when they ask her different questions about herself, and she's just like, well, honey, and it's genius, whatever she comes up with. So yeah.
She did that movie with, I think it was with Queen Latifah.
Well, what movie she did with Queen Latifah?
Oh God, she did a movie, but
Was that
I remember.
was she in Holiday?
No, no,
Was that
no.
Holiday?
The
Oh,
reason I remember that is because Queen Latifah was teasing her about all the plastic surgery, Joyful Noise,
Joyful
Joyful,
Noise. Yeah.
and Kiki Palmer also. But
Hmm.
Queen Latifah was teasing her about her appearance and all her surgical enhancements and everything. And her
Hmm.
response was like, "Well, God didn't put plastic surgeons on this earth to starve."
That
So yeah,
sounds like Dolly.
yes, yes, I definitely love her. One of the things, she's 77, and more often than not, older white women in that age tend to be a little bit disconnected and from
Hmm.
another time, like Miss Paula Dean with her plantation tea party.
Right. Yeah.
But Dolly Parton seems very progressive,
She does,
and she
doesn't she?
speaks out, and she's very vocal about injustices and things like that. And,
Hmm.
I got to give it to her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's obviously got a lot of room to
Right.
be bold and say those kinds, because she is paid,
She is paid. I mean, she was paid
been
all
paid,
along,
still getting paid.
but when Whitney Houston covered that "I Will Always Love You" check, girl, she getting all the coins, all the
Yes,
coins.
yes.
Yes. And I would say I do have like a honorable mention who's doesn't quite. She's a young artist who hasn't been in the game yet. I think she only released the EP, but I just want to talk about her so that y'all will hopefully go listen to her. Her name is Tanner Adele. She is a young mixed race woman. She's in her 20s, I think. Um, she looks like she could be a teenager, but I think she's in her 20s. Tanner Adele is, and she has some very great country music that's kind of in the vein of Shania Twain. So if you like Shania's kind of country, you will like her country music. Although her country music is a little more, you know, coming from the bar kind of country. You know, it's a little cousin to the Carrie Underwood before he cheats kind of stuff. You know, so if you like that,
I do want to throw another honorable mention myself.
yeah,
The War and the Treaty.
the war and the treaty. Okay,
hmm
tell me about them.
It's a husband and wife duo
Hmm.
that is doing country music. And you might know the wife because the wife she's remarried. She's married the husband and changed her last name. But before her name's Tanya. But before she married, she was Tanya Blount, the girl that sang with the
What?
girl that sang with Lauryn Hill and
Lauren
Sister
Hill,
Act 2.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's singing country music now.
she's singing with her husband in a group called The War and the Treaty.
The
Michael
war
Trotter
and the
and Tanya
treaty.
Trotter.
Wow, I got to look that up because I loved her
hmm
in Sister Act. I mean,
Yeah.
how many
Gotta love
times?
husband and wife duos. The War and the
Yes.
Treaty, Kindred the Family Soul, BB and
Okay.
CC are not a wife and husband and wife.
Family duos. Family
A
duos.
lot of people thought in the 80s and 90s that BB and CC were husband and wife.
Did did BB's the guy, right? Or is it
Yes,
CC? BB's the
BB.
guy. Did BB ever come out the closet? Is he in the
He's
closet?
not.
He,
He's not at the club.
does he have?
This is gonna spark.
Did he walk around with a husband and? Sorry, does he have wife and children?
I believe so. I
You
believe so. I'm not certain, but BB is like super conservative now. He sings at all the Republican. He sings the anthem at all the Republican campaigns and things like that.
let me see. Is BB
He used to be very vocal on
whining?
Sunday's Best whenever there was
Very.
anybody exhibiting the slightest amount of homosexuality.
Uh, he's had an affair and a divorce and a. Okay, well, whatever. He was previously married to Deborah Denise Winans. Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave that alone because I don't know enough about it. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not saying the man is gay, y'all. Forgive me if that's. I mean, that's kind of what I said, but that's not really what I meant because I don't know. Uh,
You didn't say you asked,
I did ask. I did ask. Thank you for clarifying me on me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
but
Well,
yes,
Sofa, do you have?
honorable mentions. You said honorable mentions. You mentioned the young lady
Yes, Tanner Adele. That's my
Tanner
honorable
Adele
mention.
and War in the Treaty. Check them out.
Yeah, check those guys out. Sofa, do you have anything else for the people today?
I think we're good. Just you know, we're about to complete our first month of the year.
Yeah.
So hopefully whatever goals you guys had in mind, whatever
Pick,
resolutions, you're
pick
all
them
still
back
on
up.
track. Yeah, if you're still on track, unless it's going to the gym. If you quit going to the gym, thank you, because the rest of us who do stick with it, it could be less congested now.
You're welcome. You're welcome because I have not been sticking with it. I do want to show y'all, if you can see back here, I'm gonna take this and put it.
Is that merch?
This is our merch here. I'm gonna put a link to this. This is the Soulful Cream podcast T-shirt. She's nice. It also comes in black. It comes up to like a 4 or a 5. Oh, girl, she fell on the floor. She come up to a 4 or a 5X. So hey, I'm gonna put the link with the video and with the audio in there, and so you'll be able to find it and to
Well,
go
you know,
buy a shirt.
if it's gonna be true to who we are, it's also gonna have to come in tanks and muscle shirts.
That's true. That's true. I gotta get some of them. You're right. You're right. We gotta do that too. Yes. 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 Well,
Because
as
Cream be giving you the gun show.
as usual, it has been a pleasure talking with you, Soulful.
Likewise. We should do this
And
again sometime.
yeah, let's
You know,
do it again.
you
Yeah.
know what? We only have 40 episodes under our belt. Let's keep.
Isn't it amazing? It is. It's amazing. We come a long way, baby, and we got even further heights to go. right?
Yes, yes. I'm eager to see what the rest of the year is gonna bring.
Yeah, I really want to do some on location stuff. I need you to work your connections with the BBPs and the he's and the HHHs and let them know that we're interested in hosting a podcast episode at their event. I think that would be hot. I
Okay.
think it would be. I think it would be hot.
All right. I'll see what I could do.
And if anybody else ends up doing it, we know that they stole it from us because here we put the idea out there here first. So if anybody else does it, they stole it from the Soulful Cream podcast.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. All right. Thank you for listening to the Soulful Cream podcast. I am Cream Diggler.
I am Soulful Mexican.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.